Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you guys are doing well today. We are doing a follow-up video on our recent video that we released, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where we talked about Rolex prices and why the prices of the new Rolex releases are so high. We got some great feedback in the comments, and this is exactly why I love the watch community on YouTube. Is you guys are all very opinionated, and if someone is incorrect, you will tell them. And you know what? It helps me learn very quickly, which I think I enjoy, and I think it really, you get fact checked, and I think that's a good thing. So I wanted to do a follow-up on that video just to kind of explain my thoughts, and also to talk about some of the things that you guys brought up in the comment section, because that's exactly what the comment section is about. So there's a couple things that I wanted to go through. The first is talking about the influence of the gray market on these prices, and then the second thing I also wanted to talk about is my comments about authorized dealers, because I still believe that authorized dealers have a very big part to play when it comes to the prices of these new Rolexes. So I'm just going to dive straight in, because this is a kind of a response video. So in the comments, I got a lot of comments that kind of spoke about how really the gray market has a lot to do with the prices that these Rolexes are actually selling for. If you don't know what the gray market is, these are essentially non-authorized dealers of Rolexes that get their hands on these new Rolex pieces that were released, like the Oyster Perpetual, the new Submariners, etc. And because they're not authorized dealers, they can kind of create hype around these watches and set a price, set the price for what they want to sell these watches at, because the supply of these watches are so limited. So what ends up happening is the prices keeps getting notched up higher and higher, just because there is no supply, and they are basically the demand, so they get to set the prices. Simple supply and demand graph. I'll admit I didn't speak about this in the last video, and I should have, because that obviously is a very big part. That plays a very big part in the prices of Rolexes, and the gray market has really been criticized about the way that they set the prices for these watches, as opposed to just setting them at those fair market prices that Rolex originally has. So the gray, like I'm here, I will say it, hold my hands up, I should have talked about the gray market and how they have an influence on the prices of watches, of these new models. I will say it's an unfortunate practice that they aren't authorized dealers, and so they don't get them directly from the manufacturer, but the manufacturer is obviously going to check the prices that authorized dealers are going to be selling these watches for, which obviously has an influence on their margins. I think the gray market has an opportunity, or what they think is an opportunity, to really set the price for any of these models. Unfortunately, people will still buy those models for what the gray market sets the price for them at, and so a $17,000 Oyster Perpetual $17,000 Oyster Perpetual is not something that people are going to really shy away from. They'll probably end up purchasing it. So gray market, I should have mentioned it. They obviously have a big influence on the way the watch prices are set. But I still do believe that authorized dealers have a very big part to play in the pricing of these models. So the gray market are not buying them from Rolex. They're actually buying them from authorized dealers, or wherever those Rolexes end up, those gray market dealers are actually buying them from those places. So first off, that's the only way that they're going to get those pieces, is by buying them from those authorized dealers. So authorized dealers obviously, are selling these watches to gray market dealers. So like that's the only way that they could get a hold of them. So they obviously are responsible for some of the pricing that happens. I think there's some other ways that gray market dealers get their watches, but you can leave them in the comments if you want to mention those. But another thing that I think is very important is the way in which Rolex authorized dealers actually sell their pieces. So a lot of the times when you go to a Rolex authorized dealer, they have, I don't want to say undesirable, but the references that they sell or have in their cases are not going to be, a stainless steel Rolex Submariner or a Daytona or the new Oyster Perpetuals. They're not going to be on display. Those are obviously going to be reserved for very, very for their customers who are returning, they've purchased a lot from that authorized dealer and have created a relationship with them. That's why people are trying to get on wait lists so much when it comes to authorized dealers. So if you walked into a Rolex authorized dealer and said, hey, I'd like to buy an Oyster Perpetual, one of the new Oyster Perpetuals, they're gonna say, we don't have any. But I know on good merit that those authorized dealers actually do have those models. They have them in their safes. They have them, they're keeping them off the floor for someone who is going to end up spending a lot of money with the authorized dealer and become a very good customer of theirs. And then they can, say, hey, I've got this model for you if you're interested. The fact that you have to be a recurring customer buying a lot from an authorized dealer obviously has to do with creating a client relationship with that person, and they're basically the authorized dealer is trying to say, hey, are you actually going to buy stuff from us, or are you just coming to us because you want this one piece? I think it's another way to vet actually giving it to someone who's going to end up reselling. So there are methods to that madness. The problem that I see with that is that if say I'm a new watch collector and I walk into an authorized dealer really wanting an Oyster Perpetual to be my first watch, and I ask, how can I get this? And you say, I gotta join a wait list because I haven't really purchased anything from you. My whole experience is then just terrible as a first time Rolex purchaser. I'm coming into this brand because I really love it, but now I have to buy all these other pieces in order to unlock the gates to stainless steel sports watches, or the newest models out there. I think that's just not a great way to interact with your customers. And I still think that authorized, and I think that's where if I go to an authorized dealer and they say no, then I'm going to end up turning to the next best alternative, which is Googling new Rolex Oyster Perpetual and trying to find a gray market dealer who is selling one for a price that I'd be willing to pay. And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that makes sense. You go to an authorized dealer, they say no. You go to a gray market dealer, they say yes, but at our prices. That's what ends up happening. And so I don't think authorized dealers are fully out of this picture, which I think some of the comments tried to say that it was just on gray market, which I disagree with. It also has to do with the experience that you go through as a purchaser of a Rolex and an authorized dealer. So I'm glad I cleared that up. I'm glad I got the comments about the gray market, because I think they definitely have a part to play there. How can you change this? Well, a lot of people say Rolex needs to sell more of these watches to authorized dealers. The problem is they don't want to do that. They want to keep their, I wouldn't want to do that. And so I don't think there really is any way to fix it. Can you control gray market dealers? I mean, that's a whole nother discussion in itself. But they are a very, very big part of the watch buying ecosystem, especially when it comes to Rolex. I don't think there really is a quick fix, but we'll see what ends up happening. I'm glad I made this video. I'm glad I cleared this up. If you have any other things that you want to talk about in the comments, let me know, because it's exactly what I want this YouTube channel to be. So be sure to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this follow-up to our discussion on the pricing of the new Rolex models. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, as I say every video, as well as smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help us out. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.